Okay, so let's get right into it. We're not just looking at another influencer's profile today. Nope. We're going to pull back the curtain and deconstruct a full-blown modern business empire. This is the story of how Francia James took a personal brand and turned it into an absolute digital powerhouse. And what we're going to do is break down the exact blueprint she used to do it.
So let's start with this number, because it's the headline. Over 17 million. That is her combined audience across all her platforms. Now, in a world that's just flooded with creators, a number that big isn't just a vanity metric. It's a serious business asset. So the real question is, how on earth did one person build an audience this massive? And more importantly, create a durable multi-million-dollar business from it? Well, let's find out.
You see, to really understand the empire, you have to go back and look at its foundation. Her journey didn't start in some fancy photo studio or with a viral video. It actually started in a small town in Colombia, with a career path you might not expect. This timeline really maps out a calculated rise. Think about it. Before 2012, she's working as an esthetician. Then in 2012, at just 22 years old, she pivots to modeling, and her timing was perfect, right as the social media explosion was happening. Fast forward to 2019, and boom, she lands the cover of Playboy. That was a huge moment of mainstream validation. And now, today, she's a 14-year veteran in this industry, and believe it or not, her brand is still growing. And that first job as an esthetician, that wasn't just some random gig. It was foundational. She developed this professional-level understanding of aesthetics, of skincare, of presentation, and this gave her a serious strategic edge when she finally stepped in front of the camera, because it allowed her to control and perfect her own image right from day one. And you can see that same strategic thinking in her next big move. I mean, landing the Playboy cover back in 2019 was an absolute masterstroke. It totally elevated her from being just another Instagram model to a legitimate figure in the industry. It gave her brand cultural cachet and opened the doors to a much, much wider audience.
Okay, so that's the foundation. Solid, right? But how did she build the skyscraper on top of it? Well, her strategy for mastering the digital space is where her business acumen really, truly shines.
Just take a look at these numbers. You've got 12.4 million on Instagram, 2.1 million on TikTok, over 1 million on Facebook, and hundreds of thousands on OnlyFans. This isn't just an audience, it's a diversified portfolio. By not putting all her eggs in one basket, she basically made her brand immune to algorithm changes and platform risk. Super smart. And get this. She's not just copy-pasting the same content everywhere. No way. She has a totally tailored strategy for each platform. Instagram is the crown jewel, right? That's the polished, glamorous lifestyle content. But TikTok, that reveals a more playful, more relatable side with dancing and trends. And these platforms, they all work together. A fun TikTok gets you curious, driving followers to the aspirational world of her Instagram, which then acts as the top of the funnel for her entire business. And this right here brings us to the very core of her appeal. It's this delicate balancing act between aspiration and relatability. You see the designer swimwear and the exotic travel, and that makes you dream, right? But then you see an occasional cooking mishap or a goofy dance, and that makes her feel, well, real. That combination is the magic formula that drives such high engagement and builds a truly loyal community. All right, now let's follow the money. Let's talk about the financial engine that's driving this entire empire. Her OnlyFans account isn't some side project. It's a sophisticated, full-blown business operation. And the model she uses is just remarkably effective. The scale of this operation is honestly, it's incredible. As you can see, we're talking about over 17,000 posts and more than 25,000 media files uploaded. That has generated over 2.3 million likes. This is not passive income, people. This is the output of a relentless content production machine that requires a mind-blowing work ethic. So, here's how she monetizes that absolutely massive content library. It's what you could call a genius funnel. Step 1, she uses a free subscription model that lowers the barrier to entry and lets her build a huge audience base. Step 2, she delivers enormous value with that massive library of posts. And then step 3, that's where she converts all that engagement by offering exclusive pay-per-view content and tips. It's a classic freemium model, just executed perfectly. And the result of that funnel? This number. And this is a conservative estimate, by the way. It puts her annual revenue from just this one platform at over $2.2 million. It's really a testament to the power of building a direct-to-consumer business and just cutting out the middleman entirely. So the money is huge, the reach is massive. But here's the final piece of the puzzle. In an industry that is notoriously fickle, where careers can be measured in months, how has she remained not just relevant, but on top for over a decade?
This chart really puts her longevity into perspective. The typical influencer career can be super short-lived, maybe a few years. Francia James has been in the game for 14 years, and she is still growing. That just doesn't happen by accident. It happens through deliberate, smart strategy. You see, these aren't just good habits. They are the core principles of her brand's entire operating system. Diversifying platforms to reduce risk, building an evergreen content library that just works for her 24/7, engaging consistently for over a decade to build a real community, and monetizing intelligently with that low-barrier funnel. These are fundamental business principles that make sure her brand is built to last. But it's not all business school tactics, right? It's also the intangible assets that fuel the machine. Her longevity itself builds trust. Her authenticity, being so open about her enhancements and her sexuality, that translates directly into a deeper connection with her audience. Her work ethic is just undeniable, and at 35, she's become a symbol of body positivity, proving that the whole myth of aging out is just that, a myth.
In the end, this quote just perfectly sums up her entire approach. She wasn't just a model who happened to get lucky. She was an entrepreneur who saw exactly where the world was heading and had the foresight and the discipline to build a brand for that future.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've deconstructed her success, from her strategic choices to her relentless work ethic. The question now is this the new blueprint? A model of cross-platform diversification, authentic connection, and direct monetization? Is this the path for the next generation of entrepreneurs in this wild new creator economy? That's something to think about.